It's the Rod and Cindy podcast, starring Rod Lyman and Cindy Mooby. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Rod and Cindy podcast. I'm really excited to be here today. It's kind of fun because we haven't done a podcast for a while, and this is one of my exciting podcasts that I'm so excited to come back to do this podcast. We're going to be doing a lot more podcasts, and you're going to be hearing a lot about us then. But you haven't seen Cindy for a while because she's been kind of out in the shadows and doing her own thing. She's been in Maine and back, and you've heard some of those stories of that. But my beautiful co-host is here today. Her name is?
Hello, Cindy Mooby. Welcome all, and thanks for listening.
You didn't say Cinderella like you normally do.
Oh, yeah, Cinderella.
Cinderella.
and for the record, you're both beautiful.
Oh,
Thank you.
So the voice you just heard is a young man that we met. Oh my gosh, is how exciting!
The greatest compliment I've ever gotten, right? A 49-year-old young man. I love it.
49-year-old young man. Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, this beautiful man and story. Let's kind of get right into it. All right, this is Troy Meiss, and this what a beautiful man he is, and
thank you. The feeling is very mutual, my dear friend.
And so let's talk about how we met.
Wow.
Because it's one of the coolest things that in a long time we've ever experienced.
Yes,
and
agreed.
The meeting of this was amazing because Cindy and I were trying to figure out where we were going to go eat. And I was like, do you want Mexican, you want Chinese, and everything else? And Cindy's like, no. But she had thought in her head, I want to go eat at, can we say the name?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, all right.
I'll probably keep it as far as that concerned, like an unofficial level. It's not like I'm representing, but absolutely, it's where I work. I consider it my family, and it's how we met. Absolutely. So I think as long as that, the info is accurate and truthful, I'm cool with it.
All right, good, good. Because if I screw up the name, then the info won't be accurate. So it was Little Miss Barbecue is what Cindy was actually thinking about, and this place had just opened, and we were just like, I got to go there. And we went there on Cindy's birthday to celebrate her birthday. We got this yummy pecan pie. Cindy is not a pecan pie person. You guys got to know this. Wow. But she ate most of the pecan pie. I got a piece of it, and that's it. But so Cindy and I decided to go back to Little Miss Barbecue, and we're staying in line. And I'm an energy watcher. I watch people's energy. I see how energy works and everything else. I've always been able to do that as a young boy. And I'm watching this energy of this man, this beautiful man. I'm watching how people are reacting to him and everything else. And it's like, I want to meet this guy. Now, there's two stations. We could have gotten one station and kind of missed the whole story of what's going on here. But universe set us in the right position. And it was really funny. Cindy was way ahead of me in the line because the beautiful young lady that was trimming my meat, and that she was learning. She was learning stuff, and it was a brand new brisket that she had pulled out. She's trying to learn where to cut and everything else.
That's right. And you actually that was the rarity of Ella, our general manager, who pretty much can do about everything in that place. Jumps in the line sometimes to cut meat, so it doesn't happen often. But yeah, you were actually privy to having one of our leaders prepare the food for you. So good stuff.
That was the general manager?
Yeah, that was Ella Perez, a wonderful woman.
That's great.
She's beautiful.
Worked in the bar, absolutely beautiful inside and out. Worked in the bar restaurant industry for many years. As a really quick sidebar, when I met the two managers and the owner, these three women, about 8 months ago in the restaurant, I literally felt, and I wasn't going for a job application or anything, but the energy emanating off these three women was almost palpable. It was so strong. So within meeting this gal, within a half an hour of meeting her, I was so inspired to drive down to a flower shop to buy 3 individual lavender roses and give them to Celeste Newman, one of our managers, Ella Perez, our general manager, and then Becky Holmes, our amazing owner. So it was just great gals, and so much of the energy of that place, I think, is derived from those wonderful women.
That's so beautiful. Because the story even broadens something you don't know about is on Friday on Cindy's birthday, and that my son and I, with Zach is here, by the way. Hi,
Yes.
Zach.
Hey, Zach.
Yeah.
Is that-
He's helping engineering things, and
Thank you.
I'm excited to have him with us.
Absolutely.
We were at Fry's Food and Drug, and there's a guy that was checking out at the register, and my roommate, who I love her to death, she's an awesome roommate, she's a beautiful lady. She says loudly, "Oh, this must be a single man's food, right?" And he hears it, right? Looks up at us and everything, and he keeps checking out and everything. Cindy and I go to Little Miss Barbecue, and the bartender at Little Miss Barbecue was the same guy that was in the
Wow.
grocery store that
Wow.
was checking out, and I was like, "Oh my gosh!"
Greg or Micah, probably.
I don't.
Yeah.
I never
Just
did.
trying to think of me.
It's-
Wow, that's awesome.
So it all starts with that beautiful story that
Wow.
there's a connection there already, right?
Yeah.
And it's there's more to it. There's more to it. Keeps going. That used to be my daughter's bank.
No. Wow. Crazy. And
So-
I had heard it was a bank. That was before my time here. but
Absolutely. So even more stuff that to go into this. And so the second time we were there, that the energy was kind of somber, but I noticed that you were just making it brighter and brighter and brighter in the place, and it was really beautiful. I was watching how you interacted with everything and Cindy went on her own, and you want to share what you saw and felt from there on?
Well, just standing in line, you observe what's in front of you, and definitely, Troy, you had some great energy going on. You were friendly and saying hi everybody and chit chat with everybody, and so we were lucky and blessed all at the same time to be able to go on your lane, to be buying our food and checking out what have you. And that's actually where the connections in the story begins with
Absolutely.
why we're here today, a couple days later only.
And I feel it's beautiful how the universe works when it's I think when at least I'm open to obey and let it guide. So no, and I think as an energy person too, and as someone that has had that works with a wonderful Reiki master named Holly Smith right now, but my journey began with Reiki about 7 years ago. So I am also kind of a energy vibey, kind of recognize those kind of things like you said, and I also felt that there was just something about you. And at this point, I had really only seen Cindy, but then Cindy was wearing these really cool cross earrings. I made a comment. She was also wearing really cool shirts. So we started to have a cool little energy moment. And then she kind of pointed and directed me towards you. And then once again, I all of a sudden, I knew, I didn't know exactly obviously the details, but I knew there was something there. It was just the energy was again, it was almost palpable, I felt. And so I was drawn. I was drawn to you both for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Here's something interesting too is my shirt that I was wearing that day with the cross on it. I haven't worn that shirt in 2 or 3 years, but I was guided that morning to wear it.
Wow.
And, of course, I wanted the earrings to match with it. So
Loved it.
amazingly enough, it's been, quite a while ago since I wore that shirt, and it was a perfect day to wear it for all these connections. The universe is super powerful.
Yeah,
We
right.
never know sometimes why we're guided to do things or meet people or wear things or go places, but
Totally.
in the end, at some point you go, oh, okay, thank you so much.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So many, and obviously we're still peeling back the onion and learning more about all of the different elements and details that have been put into play. So such good stuff.
Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? You
Absolutely.
mentioned Reiki, which
Yes.
my branding is Reiki Rod. Everybody, I have a license plate Reiki Rod and everything
Awesome.
else. I'm all about Reiki. Reiki is a foundation of everything,
Yes.
and I'm really excited to hear about where did you find and how did you get into Reiki?
I was living in Denver, Colorado about 6 years ago, and I was doing a little bit of struggling. I'm an addict in recovery, and I was seeing an addiction specialist. And of course, like a lot of the Western world, medical world wants to do, it was, get on this and prescribe this and take this. And I'm wanting to get, to kind of get clean. Well, the woman that was my addiction doctor had kind of a big office and had a couple of spare rooms. And she had a friend who was a Reiki master and by the name of Anissa Parker. And this is kind of where my journey began with Reiki. So this woman, Anissa, started doing some work out of my addiction doctor's office. And so I started seeing her, and it started to become evident how much more benefit I felt I was receiving from the Reiki and this woman than I was an actual doctor that was prescribing this really heavy, you know, my history is of abuses with opiates. And so a lot of the things that are given as cures or as you know, methadone, Suboxone can be really, really strong drugs in and of themselves. A lot of people don't know that. I didn't know that. I was kind of naive. So I was being put on this pretty heavy drug called Suboxone, which a really strong opiate and really kind of naive, you know, to the level. So as I was, you know, kind of going through that, I met the woman, the Reiki gal that did the sessions in her office, and I started seeing her. And I think I have to be honest. I mean, when she first explained it to me and said that you know, it's a healing method, it doesn't even involve touch. It like the hands can be. I mean, I think I would be lying if I said there wasn't some part of me that would just been like, oh come on. Like, I mean, I've seen chiropractors, I've been to masseuses, I've got massage. I mean, you know, what kind of healing and well, I obviously many years later feel very differently. That woman changed my life. And Anissa in stature is, you know, I would guess probably age about 70 years old.
Wow.
A rather in stature diminutive Ethiopian woman, but the energy that this woman exudes, I had never seen anything like it. I mean, I felt not dwarfed because her energy was so inviting and warm. So it wasn't like there was any kind of a disconnect, but I just felt her love, her energy was so big and was so powerful. So as I was struggling with some things, this woman left an enormous impression on me. And she's still in Denver and still practicing.
Wow.
And love this woman. You know, we keep in touch, probably mostly through like Instagram and texts. But still feel this woman has really done a lot for me. And then about 6 months, I met another gal that I've been working with. And strangely enough, we met once. She lives in Palm Springs, and we do our work over the phone.
Remotely.
You know, remote. We do our work remotely.
Just as healing, just as stuff.
Oh my goodness, just as healing. And in my first session with her, she's also a really physically beautiful woman. And I think the first time I met her, you know, there was a little flirting going on. And so in our first session, I think I remember having this thought of, I started to get really emotional. And I think what was going through my head was I started to kind of choke up and tear up a little bit. And even though we were on the phone, I kind of felt this like male, you know, pride thing. I started getting in the way, like I don't want to let her know that I'm, you know. And so I was trying to hold back. And Holly gets on and comes back on, and she just said, "What's going on with you? Because I'm bawling right now. And are you okay?" So here, like, I'm trying to hold back this like emotion, thinking that I don't want her to pick up on it. And she's already so picked up on it. She's already crying. She's already shedding the tears that I'm feeling, that this crazy, you know, like I said, male, whatever it is, you know, this pride ego thing is kind of keeping me from wanting to show my emotions. So this extremely, like I said, inside and out, beautiful, beautiful woman. In our first session together over the phone, after having met once, we had a couple connections that were just cosmic.
Wow.
Cosmic. So
That's awesome.
So my respect for the Reiki practice, for the art, is probably immeasurable. And so, you know, once again, just one of the many, you know, great elements, bonuses, benefits of meeting you two a couple days ago.
Yeah.
So
what level are you in Reiki? Are you master?
no, not at all. Not at all. In fact, I'm probably in the beginning stages, although Anissa was the first one that really said, I recognize some.
Right.
I want you to do this. She was
Perfect.
like, you know. I believe we all possess obviously so many different things and so many different talents. She had said that she recognized something of a healing nature and that she wanted to explore. I then met a gal, fell in love with an magazine editor from New York, so skedaddled out of Denver pretty quickly, but still do stay in touch. So as far as the actual art, I would have to still say, even knowing and practicing for 6-7 years, I'm still pretty beginning.
Yep. And that's interesting. You have 3 masters here, but none of us are masters. I mean, because we haven't mastered it yet in any which way, shape, or form.
Wow.
Cindy's got a beautiful story about coming into Reiki herself. You know, she's it really changed her life in a lot of ways too.
What was that? How'd you get?
I just love it when Rod puts me on the spot here. I have to like
We
go
can
back
do
a
a
few
Reader's
years
Digest
here.
condensed
Yes,
version, so.
condensed version of that.
Yeah, so when I was awoken to spirituality, I was a seeker, and I found Rod and went to his class. I was one of his first students, but it changed me, and physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually,
Amen.
all at the same time.
Amen.
I don't know what happened, but some crazy, amazing transformations happened within. And
That's great.
yeah, it
Yeah.
was very great. And
Yeah.
I took it from there, and it's been a wonderful ride. And
So would you kind of then consider, would Reiki be the thing that you would really call your springboard then into, this other elements and getting into the, into more of spiritual practices, that was kind of the big thing that got you started?
Honestly, I would say yes and no. It was definitely part of who I was and where I was going and what I was doing and what I believed in. But I don't know, there was something else too. There was another drive within, and
Cool.
but no doubt I've learned a lot, felt a lot, saw a lot, and it's really pretty amazing. So it definitely is a huge part of my life. Plus, I went to Switzerland and learned color therapy to add to it, and sound therapy.
Wow, I know so little about either of those, and really look forward to learning more from you about those. So I did a little bit of some sound therapy with with an addiction specialist. I was working in New York a couple years ago, and in just my brief introduction, really felt it had some benefit and value. So it's just wonderful how many great things out there that there are for us to utilize. My thing has always been is, what am I looking for when I start my day out? Am I gonna succumb, or am I gonna overcome? There's a lot of craziness in this world, and a lot of pressures, and for me, it's about making that decision in the morning, about having that meditation, that prayer, and saying, I know that life's gonna throw some curveballs at me today, but what am I going to do? What am I, or even more so, what am I not only gonna do? What am I gonna allow myself to be a conduit for something bigger than me, for love, to get through this thing, and it's just so amazing. I find out when we meet like-minded individuals and people on similar spiritual paths, because I just feel like I'm home. Like when I met you guys, it was like it's hard because once again, this is the second time we've met. And people are going to be hearing, disembodied voices, but the energy and the way that it transpired, the way that everything kind of unfolded for our meeting, it literally felt like I was being in the presence of a couple of great old friends,
Absolutely.
Nice.
a brother and sister. Yep. It really, and I know that. In different elements and journey, and I know sometimes I probably get, but I mean I truly mean that,
Yep.
It feels like home.
Well, it was the same feeling as from us too. Is that just watching your energy and knowing that there was a kindred spirit there in every which way, shape, or form, which is going to lead us into this next part, which is kind of an emotional part of it, and it's really beautiful. Is that we had found out some of the beautiful things about who you are and where you come from. And one of the most beautiful things I love is like, he's Troy was part of a band that in the 90s, and you may have heard of them because I sure the heck have, and they were called the Meat Puppets.
Yeah.
And it's one of a band that I loved to hear, and you were a guitarist through them and everything else, but that's not where you're at now. But so let's talk a little bit of the spirituality. I just wanted to refresh everybody who you were in that aspect.
So
no, and
Yeah, no.
but basically is when we found this out, and Cindy and I were like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. And Cindy's brother is one of the big, oh my gosh, he loves all kind of genre and that, but he loves your guys' music, and that he always has. So of course we're texting back and forth, get a picture with him, blah blah blah. So the beautiful thing is that Cindy has this energy, and she has a way about herself that she can bring out the best of anybody. She's been able to do that as long as I've ever known her, and just by the touch and just by her being there, she brings out the best in people, and that she has this beautiful smile that is able to do this.
absolutely.
So you and I take a picture together, and that is just a regular two-guy picture, with the hey, peace sign, thumbs up type thing and everything.
Exactly.
And we turned and says, okay, time to take a picture with Cindy. Well, you put your arm around Cindy, I take the picture, and then you had to run because somebody needed you up front, and I'm looking at the picture, and I'm going, oh my gosh, what is this? And so I said, Cindy, I'm going to take another picture of you. And of course, Cindy loves taking pictures. Not.
I have moments where I do.
She does have moments. It's like, let me see that. Let me see that. That's what I always get. So anyway, I take another picture of her right away. And whatever that entity was that was next to you two was gone.
So, well, and I like to, at this point, to give you some credit, because you're obviously open-mindedness, open-heartedness allowed to you to notice that there's some kind of anomaly in this picture. So as Cindy and I were posing, is that what we were doing? As we were smiling, for the picture, the picture got snapped, and you noticed that there is literally some kind of a blinding white anomaly. So I walked away, and within about a minute or so, you snapped another picture of Cindy without me in the same position, same within literally, a minute. And the two, I wish, this would be one of those times that people could see the difference, because there is truly some kind of a crazy, ethereal, blinding, beautiful light that's coming in.
Right. We're going to post that also with the
okay.
podcast.
Awesome.
So people are going to get to see that picture.
That picture you took has actually allowed a lot of healing to take place, I believe, and also a number of tears have been shed in the past 36 hours, whatever, since I've been able to show some employees. So we had a wonderful man that started with us by the name of Spencer Lee Dalton, a 28-year-old man, just a great one of those guys that you meet and you just fall in love with. Well, Spencer, like all of us, had his own demons he was battling, and Spencer had a problem with alcohol. And we had done some work in recovery together, and then we started working together. And I literally, for a number of months, worked side by side almost every day with this guy. And a couple months ago, he had a couple of rough things, so he had to leave the restaurant, and he was just trying to work on himself and get some things together. And on Tuesday of this week, I believe it was Tuesday, this past week, we found out that Spencer had passed away. That our 28-year-old, one of our beloved employees, had unfortunately succumbed to the ugliness of alcoholism, and this beautiful young man was taken way too early.
Absolutely.
So I had just mentioned this, and funny enough, out of working every shift that week, I only mentioned the thing about Spencer to 2 other tables. I just didn't want to put any kind of a negative.
Right,
I didn't
absolutely.
want to walk up to a table with an attitude. Oh, hey, we're all having kind of a rough one here because one of our best friends is dead, and so I was really trying to to make sure that I was being respectful of my delivery as an restaurant employee and just trying to do a good job and keep things positive. So it was an anomaly in and of itself that I even mentioned it to you guys, because in that 5 days, there literally maybe been 2 other people that I had kind of had a connection with and that had, and explained that too. I'm gonna keep doing it.
The drumming you hear is Troy playing on the table.
I like I've got my lava bead.
Yeah, exactly.
What do they call that? Essential oil
Essential lava
bracelet on.
smacking around. I love it.
Get a little.
That's all right. No worries. I love it. Keep going. About Spencer.
Yeah. So we had just discussed that. So for y'all listening, as we've talked about this, I mean, I had just told these guys. Now we're talking 30 minutes have transpired, and now I'm feeling we already love each other, and I've already got a brother and a sister, and I think they know they've got a new brother, and so we're just grooving, and man, life is just manifesting and showing itself in beautiful ways, and we're just getting into this energy, and so I feel cool enough to say. And then I think the way I remember it was that you guys mentioned something about this, the healing and spirituality. And I said, wow. And to share something with you too, we could really use some extra healing and spirituality, because right now, all of the employees in the restaurant, almost everybody that's here, we're a family, had worked with and loved Spencer. So there was no doubt that there was some heaviness. And so I had just mentioned that. I think within a few minutes of the picture being snapped. So when this picture was taken, once again, that hopefully everybody will be able to look at, this just crazy light that's coming off from behind Cindy and I. So you snap another picture. I walk away within a minute. Another picture is snapped with completely different results. And hopefully you all get to make your own determinations on that. But I had stepped away at this point. Like you said, I had to tend to a guest. We don't have clients or customers at Lotus Barbecue.
Right,
we have guests that come to our house. That's our MO there.
I love that.
You're coming over to our house for dinner. I want to make this the greatest experience. What can we do for that?
Absolutely.
So,
I love that too.
And we are given rain, as I mentioned, Becky and Ella and Celeste earlier, Scott Holmes, Mark, our general. I mean, literally the folks in charge there encourage us to go above and beyond, and it's a really special thing.
You guys do too. You really do.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
It's a special thing to be a part of, and I really do love sharing that. So I had walked away to tend to a guest, and the two of you then are looking at this picture. You're determining what's going on here. You snap another one of Cindy to very different photographic results. I now come back over. You grab me and say, look at this. There's something weird. Take this too. Look at these two pictures side by side. All of a sudden, I get this crazy warm, I feel like Spencer is right there. And Cindy looks up at me and says, could this be Spencer? Is this Spencer? Is this your friend? Within a nanosecond, I was literally overwhelmed, overcome.
You couldn't say nothing. You just
I literally bolted because I started to cry.
Absolutely, you walked away.
Tears.
Yep.
The shot of emotion was so intense. I mean, literally within a nanosecond, a tear started coming down my face. I knew that in the middle of the afternoon there was no one sitting out in the patio because it was 110 degrees. So I immediately, without even saying a word, bolt away as I'm starting to shed tears, knowing that Spencer is with me, started to head outside the patio to compose myself. But as I'm walking out to the patio, Cindy jumps up and starts screaming, I'm sorry, thinking that she had offended me. But I am overwhelmed by love and my knowledge right now that Spencer is with me. He's not only with me, he's with all of us in the restaurant, and he's grabbing my hand.
Absolutely. Yes. In the picture, you can see that. You can see that the hand, it's overlapped on your beautiful hand, and you can see that your hand's on Cindy's shoulder, and you can see just the beauty of the whole thing. And you'll see it transpiring and how beautiful it really is.
It really is.
It's
and
still
I'm just going to take
too.
this one moment. It really is. I could easily break into tears right now. But I'm really excited. In fact, Celeste gave me the number. I reached out to her, and there's going to be a celebration of life for Spencer.
Oh, beautiful.
And I reached out to her and said, I think I need to talk to his mom. So Spencer was a writer, and he didn't share a lot of his writings with people, but knowing I was a writer, he actually shortly before he passed, he sent me a project, a TV pilot that he was working on about the restaurant industry. And he had asked me for some notes and to work on it. So I will take this moment right now to say that, yes, we're going to have a celebration for Spencer Dalton's life, but I will be reaching out to his mother in the next 24 hours. And just to be able to know that we've honored his spirit, we've talked about him, we've shared this, is just one of the most magical feelings. I mean, you guys, you know, if we haven't had those own demons ourselves of addiction, in this day and age, we all know someone that has. Spencer, I think, was so down. He was so hurting. He was so in a place of darkness and desolation. He had no idea. I'm getting a little emotional right now. He had no idea how much he was loved. And in that moment, just having that epiphany, that warmth of knowing that Spencer was with me, it was just, like I said, it brought tears to my eyes. But the funny thing is, Cindy, is that is something, maybe one of the most intense things that ever happened. And as I was trying to shoo, as I was running outside going, no, you don't owe me an apology. You don't owe me an apology. I'm crying and walking away because I'm at work right now and I need to keep my emotions in check, and I don't want to look like I'm starting to bawl. And I even had to take my manager, Celeste. I waited till the end of the shift to show her that picture because I knew there would be tears. I knew there would be emotion. And I knew that I couldn't just take 2 minutes to do this during the shift.
Right.
So I said, but I sent her over. I felt the connection with you two so strong. You guys had your own connection with Celeste, didn't you? Don't you have a mutual friend or?
Well, yeah, we have a mutual friend, first of all, that when she Sheldon, his name is Sheldon Watson. He's a dear friend of ours. And then she's like, I was like, oh my gosh, that is so weird because I was just thinking of this guy.
Wow.
Which was awesome. Then she comes up and the interesting thing is her hands glow. Celeste's hands just glow, and I'm like, I look at her. Yeah, and I look at her and I say, you are some sort of healer, artist or something.
She's special.
And then she shows us her artwork.
She's amazing.
Oh my gosh.
Well, and I'm going to throw this out there too. She's the reason I'm at Little Miss Barbecue.
Nice.
I had a job I loved. I was playing a gig in August. She was in the crowd. She was very complimentary. Came up. I was doing a solo gig at a place called Sip, a coffee shop in Scottsdale. She approached me after the show. I had told her I just moved back from New York, that I was working in a restaurant, and she said, well, out of curiosity, do you have any barbecue affiliation? Well, I'm a 49-year-old guy from Kansas City, Missouri. I think my exact answer was, I think if we cut open, and thank goodness at this point, years later, we wouldn't find anything bad in there, but I think I said we cut those veins open, I bet there's barbecue sauce coursing through. I think that was my actual answer to Celeste, but... And as I said that little story earlier about Becky, Celeste, and Ella, when I meant to meet those three, I was just going up to meet those girls and look at Little Miss Barbecue. I had a job that I really liked, working at a place. But after meeting those three, I realized, wow, I did actually go up there to look, because when I walked away, when I came back to give the girls their roses, 30 minutes later, I knew that the universe was telling me right then that that's where I was supposed to be. And before I got home, there was a text from Celeste saying, Becky and Ella think you're awesome. We want you aboard. And I'm looking at this thing going, that was just to go look at the place and say hi to a friend.
Exactly.
That was not a job interview. I got a place. Now, I very respectfully put my 2 weeks in at the place I worked, but I just want to give Celeste Newman one more shout out, because she has not only been one of my best friends, a confidant, a sister. She is the reason I'm at Little Miss Barbecue. She was the one that hired Spencer, I believe, 12 years ago as a 16-year-old to be a busboy. So this beautiful 28-year-old soul that we just lost, I know and loved because of the connection with Celeste. That's so cool that you guys had the Sheldon connection. And,
Yep. Oh, it is.
And isn't she so she showed you some of her paintings?
Oh, yeah.
She's coming in to do my office.
Whoa.
She is. She's going to redo my office and everything else. I picked you. It's so funny is that she pulled up a picture and she showed it to Cindy at first, right? And I'm thinking this is paint by numbers picture because
Right.
it's so awesome. And,
Wow.
and then she says, no, I freehand this. And I was like, what?
Wow.
It was amazing. She's an amazing woman, that
Wow.
too.
Hey, can I say one more thing?
Oh, you can
And
say
then
whatever you want to say.
And then we'll end this about this, Celeste. So I live really close to Little Miss Barbecue. And my route outside of my house on 12th Street is very often to get to Cave Creek. I ended up just about going by. So this morning I drove past Little Miss Barbecue. And Celeste and Elena, hi Elena, I wouldn't forget you, darling, were outside. So I pulled up in my really bitchin' 1999 Dodge Caravan that my parents gave to me about a year ago, and I love it. And there's absolutely no sarcasm or disrespect in that, man. I love it. I get good tunes out of it. I haul my gear. Anyways, when I drove by Little Miss Barbecue an hour ago and told Celeste that I was coming to meet the two of you, I could tell she was glowing. I didn't notice it in her hands necessarily, but she was glowing all over the place.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But jokingly, I said to her, you know I'm going to name check you. You know I'm going to embarrass you. I'm going to say, and it wouldn't necessarily embarrass because I know that when this gets a chance to be heard, but if and when, that there's obviously going to be some people. And I really hope that even by mentioning Spencer's mom's name, that this woman knows too how much love there is. And in all this ugliness and despair and heartache right now, we have to be there for each other. Mm-hmm. We have to be there. We have to be loving, supporting, empathetic, understanding. And so I hope that at some point this will get back. I don't even know if her name is Mrs. Dalton or Ms. Dalton. I did meet her once or twice very briefly while I was working with Spencer. But this whole thing, I mean, it even feels like that the three of us, I feel like we'll have a lifelong, an eternity together. And already with the way I feel about the three of you, I just know it's so important right now that the love is shown and spread, and that his mother knows, and that I know that Spencer is smiling down, and that he knows, and then just looking, going, dude, I'm glad you're out of pain. Yep. I know you are hurting. I know it was so dark, so I'm glad you're out of that ugly pain. But man, I love you and miss you, and you have a crew on this planet Earth that you inspired, that you touched, that you...
Well, just even his spirit and energy being, I mean, obviously in the picture is
bright and shiny. Yeah,
I'm going to get a picture of him out just so I can look at it while we're talking.
Yeah, definitely.
If that's okay.
But it's just a matter of that he is, even with you guys, in spirit at the restaurant.
Yes.
So
Thank you,
family,
Cindy.
You know, whether you're on a physical plane or not, you're still all together.
I have to interject with this because I have to just jump in because the next day after this, I have not even shared it with Cindy and that, but the next day, a friend of mine calls me up and he says, how's your night? Blah, blah, blah. She's a medium. And she says, Spencer has a message for you. For you.
Whoa.
He says, Spencer, and this, so I was looking at my notes on that. Spencer says, no archaic thinking and forgive yourself. The past is the past.
Oh, wow.
And that's
that would definitely be Spencer. We had so much.
Yeah, it was something really beautiful. I wanted to share.
Thank you.
I hadn't even shared it with Cindy. It was just something that came up, and she doesn't even know, but she felt something in her presence around me, and she says, "Rod, you know," and I said, "I've been feeling this ever since I met you. I've been feeling this extra energy that's around me. It's all good. It's a great, beautiful energy.
Absolutely.
But
it really is.
But him to say the archaic thinking, archaic. Forgive the past is the past.
Yeah.
You know,
and that's exactly that is Spencer.
Yep.
That is Spencer.
And she said that his personality was just amazing and everything else, and that.
Yeah. Well, and as I just pulled up the ad for the Celebration of Life, which is going to be up at Alice Cooper's The Rock on the 29th of this month.
Oh my gosh!
At the end of June, as I just pulled up that, I saw the text that Celeste had given me. So I hope that this is. I hope out of respect, but I just glanced down and I saw that his mother's name was Jane. I won't do a last name just in case.
Yeah, right.
But Jane, we are sending you love, energy. Wow, Just put a picture of Spencer's face in front of me.
That's beautiful. Look at that.
A little choked up. So
Yep, absolutely.
we will
Beautiful.
make sure that if when we get the information out about this.
Right.
Now this is the crazy thing, or one of the crazy things, is that I have been with a band called the Feelies for 31 years, and I'm flying out to New York that week to we're headlining the Wilco Festival that Jeff Tweedy curates, and this band that I've been with for 31 years is going to be headlining a really cool festival on Saturday the 29th. So I'm going to try to find a way out there to send something back, the love to this thing, whether it's a
Absolutely.
Facebook Live.
Right.
I'm kind of praying, meditating, thinking about that. But I'll just say this, and is that this is what I know. Spencer Lee Dalton, you are loved and missed
Oh, absolutely.
beyond words already. And I know that there's some of us here that are really going to make it a mission to honor some of the work that you've done, see what we can do. I'm going to go back and look at that, the pilot that you sent me, and I'm just, it was an honor. It is an honor, not
Right.
was. I hate it when I
Exactly.
start using past
No,
tense sometimes,
exactly.
right?
Absolutely. Yep.
It is an honor. So to Spencer Lee Dalton, bless you, my brother. I hope you're at peace.
Right. And the beautiful thing is that, you know, this is kind of a tribute to him in a sense. And if there's anything the Rod City podcast or us personally can do for,
man,
let us
thank
know.
you.
That's what
You know what?
That's what
You
we do.
guys have already facilitated this entire thing because of Cindy's energy and your open-mindedness, open-heartedness, and belief in things of a spiritual realm, nature. Because of the two of you, this connection has taken place. Now, I also know that the two of you realize that a lot of elements, and that we're all conduits in this big
absolutely.
cog, we're all cogs in this big love machinery. But let me tell you both that right now there's a moment of peace, of closure, of forgiveness, of love that is permeating right now, that is permeating this space, this energy right now. And you two have been the conduits